Let's make pumpkin spice bread. This bread smells so good while it's baking, and it is delicious with your morning cup of coffee or tea, and it makes an excellent stuffed French toast. So you're going to want to give this a try. And the even better part is that the recipe calls for applesauce, but you can actually use pumpkin puree, so you can make a pumpkin spice bread. Are you ready? Let's get started. As you can see, I've already gotten together the ingredients we're going to need to make the dough, and today I'm going to use the stand mixer, and we're going to go ahead and add all of the dry ingredients first. See, I've got my packet of yeast, I've got my salt, the pink Hawaiian salt that I like to use, the pumpkin pie spice, and the flour. I really like how versatile a couple of these ingredients are. So if you want to use pumpkin puree instead of applesauce, go ahead and swap it out. Just be sure to add a teaspoon of milk if you're using the pumpkin puree. You're going to need a little bit more moisture for your dough. Or you might have to add a little bit more as needed, depending on how your dough turns out. And also, if you want to swap out the maple syrup for honey, you can do that as well. Depends on what you have on hand and what you prefer to bake with. It's really up to you. Once the dough comes together and it starts to form a ball and all the dry ingredients have pulled away from the outside of the bowl, you'll want to knead it for about 7 minutes or until you get a nice, smooth, cohesive dough and you can form it into a ball. I set my mixer to low and then I watch it get started. It's always really excited to watch it form an actual dough ball. After it's finished kneading, it's time to generously butter the bottom of the bowl. And then I like to turn it around and then flip it over and twist it again so that both sides are coated in butter. This helps it not stick to the bowl, and it also adds a little bit of moisture to the dough. After it's risen and about doubled in size, I like to gently flatten it with my hands to degas it. And then I break it apart into 3 equal pieces, and then I form 3 ropes that I braid, and then I pinch the ends together, and then gently, carefully, pinch them underneath to form a little braided loaf. After the loaf's all braided, I put it into an also generously buttered loaf pan. For it to rise for the second time, I put it back into that warm place for about a half hour so it can almost double in size again. Now it's time for us to let it rise again. After it's risen for the second time, it's finally time to bake, but don't forget to brush on an egg white before you put it in the oven. Take it out after about 35 to 40 minutes. It'll be a nice golden brown on top, and you will have a gorgeous loaf of bread.